Good morning, everybody. You were live in the CNN newsroom. I'm Jim Acosta in Washington. Right now, voting is underway in nearly all 16 Super Tuesday states in what effectively could be the beginning of the end of the 2024 presidential primaries. The American people will make their voices heard, and barring a major upset, the country will be one step closer to the prospect of former President Donald Trump being the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party. For the GOP, more than one-third of the total nominating delegates are at stake. Trump maintains a commanding lead, on track to win more primaries and caucuses than any non-incumbent candidate in history. All of that raising the question, could this be the last stand for Nikki Haley, who clings to a single primary victory? CNN has correspondents coast to coast on what voters are saying as they head to the polls.
Happening now across the country, Americans are heading to the polls and making their voices heard. At this hour, voting is underway in all 16 Super Tuesday states in what effectively could be the beginning of the end of the 2024 presidential primaries. Tonight, barring a major upset, the country will be one step closer to the contentious rematch that many Americans do not necessarily want. For Democrats in particular, President Biden's path to the nomination remains virtually unchallenged, but questions remain about whether voters disillusioned by his support for Israel will stay home. And on the Republican side, with more than one-third of the total delegates at stake, tonight could be Nikki Haley's last stand. As Trump inches closer to clinching the nomination, he's on track to win more primaries and caucuses than any non-incumbent Republican candidate in history. CNN has crews coast to coast staying on top of all these races.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Good morning. You were live in the CNN newsroom. I'm Jim Acosta in Washington, and at any moment, the Supreme Court may release a major decision with major implications for the 2024 presidential election. Less than 24 hours before the Colorado primary, the nation's highest court could decide whether former President Donald Trump is eligible for the state's ballot and whether he can run in the general election. Some state election officials have objected to Trump appearing on primary ballots because of his actions on January 6 and are accusing the former president of being in violation of the Constitution's 14th Amendment, which bars any person who engaged in a rebellion or insurrection from holding public office. Let's bring in CNN chief anchor and chief political correspondent Dana Bash.
This is CNN Breaking News.
And you are in the CNN newsroom. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington, and we begin with the breaking news this morning. The United States Supreme Court ruling that former President Donald Trump cannot be removed from any state's ballot for his actions on January 6th. The 9 justices affirming that he can run in a general election and once again serve as the United States Commander-in-Chief. In the majority opinion, the court writes that only Congress can enforce the 14th Amendment's ban on insurrectionists holding federal public office. Trump is responding to the decision, calling it, and I'm quoting him now, a big win for America. But the court did not directly speak to whether or not his actions on January 6th equate to insurrection. Let's get straight to CNN anchor and chief legal analyst Laura Coates. She's outside the Supreme Court for us. Laura, what more, first of all, can you tell us about this very historic and consequential decision?